Hi, Kyle. I struggle with not wanting to be here. I feel it's more despair than depression. So I'm going to go with something, Julia. First of all, if you're really having a hard time, I'm going to always say you got to call a suicide hotline, get a suicide therapist, get some help. I also want to bring this at the same time. I believe with all my heart, it's not you that's suicidal. It's a pattern. It's stuck energy in the body. It says it's hard to be here in this world feeling disconnected. Disconnected from what? This word disconnected is usually the break off of stuck attachment based patterns. You're going to feel disconnected because we're used to being codependent, but that's not better, right? This is so big. I just want to be like, be disconnected because you're always connected to God. Notice, Julia, that I could sit here and you guys can see, I'm going to close my eyes. I said this on Tim Ballard's podcast. If I close my eyes, you can tell me right now, are the lights still on me? The lights are still on me, right? Let me know. When I close my eyes, did the lights go out? I think this is an obvious thing, but the lights are still on me, right? But I could really swear that it's dark with my eyes closed. And if I spent the whole day with my eyes closed, I could convince myself, if I didn't know any better, there's no sun, there's no light. And that's what we do with God, right? And I know there's God even when I feel disconnected, because what I feel disconnected from is attachment, an egoic construct, right? And so you're always connected to God, even when you don't feel it. There's no less light on me when I close my eyes. But inside of ourselves, we disconnect from the knowing. And I want you to know God is here, or the now is here, the universe is here, just as much as these lights are shining. See, this we have evidence of, so we do this. But more and more, if you do this work, you will get evidence that God's here when you feel disconnected. I could be in the worst disconnected, oh my God, state, but know that there's a light on me, even if I'm doing this. And sometimes, by the way, we're actively doing this. Like, in other words, we're fighting for how screwed we are. We're fighting for what a victim we are. We're fighting for what they did to us. We're fighting, and then we go into our own little shell, and the light's still on us. But the light's job isn't to pry you open and out of your shell. The light's job is to be available all the time and shining on you. And it's up to you to connect to the light. It's up to you to see the light. It's up to you to ask for God. It's up to you to say, connect to me, God. When we've spent a whole life deciding that our connection is only through people, we feel disconnected because that's not the truth. That was just codependency. And so when we go, oh my God, I feel disconnected from the world, I feel disconnected from my group of friends, I feel disconnected from that. Yeah, because in fifth dimension, fourth density, you're connected, period. You're connected to God. You're not connected based on other people's egos giving you praise or paying attention to you and telling you how proud they are of you, right? You are 100% connected, but you feel disconnected to the lie that was connection. Your connection is to God. And we've been living a life unconsciously unaware that you have the light shining on you 24/7, but it's up to you to decide that's my connection. Then you can bring love to other people, but don't decide it's that person there. That's my safe space only, not me, right? Because then you'll go, that person's safe, that person isn't safe, that person's safe, that person isn't safe. And you are here to become the connection to these lights and be there for the energy that is not you, that wants to die, the energy that's not you, the energy that feels codependent on people, that probably wants to die. And when it does, it will be replaced by the lights that are shining on you, going into the areas that were blocking the light from coming in, because those areas go, my connections to people, because you grew up with parents with egos. Do you get what I'm saying? When you grew up with parents with egos, you then go, I want to feel connection. Well, what's connection? Well, for 20 years, connection was dad screaming, mom shaming, whatever they were. And then, or the pendulum opposite, someone that's not like dad. That's connection. Okay, I don't have to feel the energy of dad because this guy's in my life and he's nothing like dad. All that shit's still inside, and it's not being alchemized by God because it's through people, and you're using people to block the bringing in of the light that wants to see you now, right? Know that right now you are loved, and your connection will not be only to people anymore. It will be to that is eternal, that is true, that is loving, right? You don't want your only connection to be to mortal things, right? Because ego is mortal, people are mortal, but what they truly are is immortal. And we are feeling the fall apart of your ego. And here's another great thing to tell someone that's suicidal. This is true. They're suicidal because they're evolving. You're suicidal because the old programs don't work anymore because you're more expanded. When you are expanding, it goes spit out the old thing. If I had a computer that still ran on Windows 95, it would probably be a computer. It wouldn't work anymore. I'd have to upgrade the computer, but I have to delete Windows 95 and put in some 2023 thing. I am the energy that's upgrading. So when you're feeling depressed and suicidal, understand that's because you're evolving rapidly. You're brilliant. You're a genius. And the old constructs that you used as safety to not have to feel the trauma in your body, to alchemize it, to get the light in there, are falling apart. And life is getting you to connect to the you now, right? Deep breath in, release it. It's the next thing Julia says, it's hard to be here in this world feeling disconnected. I pray and meditate and stay in gratitude, but I ask God to end my pain. So imagine God's right here. Do you receive God? And how about instead of asking God to end your pain, ask to see your pain? Do you see how one is get rid of and the other one is here? When you move into that now space, you hear. Do you see the difference? When you move into the now space, you hear. If you ask to end your pain, you're asking to numb it. You're shutting your inner child up. You shut up, kid. I don't care about you. Right? I need to end you. So what does it do? It comes out louder and louder and louder because the only way out is through. So don't ask God to end your pain. Ask God to see it. And let's spend a week in ego rehab, seeing and feeling through the pain, being lost for a while, fully being present with disconnected. And then who's the one that's disconnected if you can feel disconnected fully? You're sitting here with God, feeling the energy that's not you, that feels disconnected. Hear it, right? Then the next thing said, I just worry about loved ones and my financial situation. Okay, let's separate those. First, let's just transcend the pain. Because you might also have a tie to the financial situation equals something from your childhood too. But before we can get to that, just see the pain that's here. Undo the belief that your connection is only to people. Be present for disconnected, and all of a sudden you're connected to it. Did you get that? Be present for the feeling of disconnected, and all of a sudden you're connected to it. But the feeling of disconnection might have to spend some time fighting to prove disconnection. So it might run away from you. It might have to do anything. You just listen, you just let it. And eventually it's going to be tired because you didn't cater to the numbing practices that we usually have to stop the feeling of disconnection. Deep breath in. See the pain. See it. Don't ask to end it. See it. Don't be scared to see it. You got a major capacity. You're very expanded, Julia. Get present in the now. Don't try to end it. See it. And if that doesn't work, still get help. Please get help. Call a suicide hotline. Call someone to help. I absolutely still recommend getting help if it gets really like feeling despair. But little shifts, like instead of asking God to end it, asking God to see it, it's very different. Because once it's seen, it doesn't work as well. It doesn't have that hold. If we actually go, there is no there. Imagine that the ego was saying, God, there is you healing this. Here is, I want to see it. See the difference? Getting to there, right? Getting to there is get over this. Here is show me this. And you'll work with it, work through it, feel it, transcend it, hear it, listen, learn. There's more information in there. But get that we're going to feel disconnected for a while because our belief in connection was to something that isn't the highest form of connection. And so we're going to all feel lonely and disconnected and stuff because we thought it was to people. And no people can deliver every single thing that your ego needs to stay seen. They just can't. The value of the Absolutely Everything Pass is absolutely skyrocketing right now. Coming up, we have the 3-day event called God's Kid. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the video called God's Kid on YouTube. That's going to be free with the Absolutely Everything Pass. We have our giant 2-day event, Miracles Normalized, coming up on the Absolutely Everything Pass. We are distributing right now, Freeing All Children Inside and Out. We have so many other giant events. These events used to cost thousands of dollars. They're just free with the Absolutely Everything Pass. And because we're raising the crap out of the value, we are in the final stages of you having the opportunity to get a year for $299. It will permanently be $795 very shortly. If you want to get the Absolutely Everything Pass and raise your frequency, raise your value, release stored trauma in the body, move to a higher frequency, become healthier, not make bad decisions, release codependency, everything else, this is the last chance to get it for $299. Join us on the Absolutely Everything Pass. Password is water. Join us, and you can ask questions and get answers like this. Do a hot seat. Come be with me. Let's change the world.